All right, Beer Night followers. This is episode 25 of Beer Night. This is the music segment. Curtains are now closed. The sun is beaming in, so we had to close
Too
them.
much glare,
Too
so
much.
now we got the lovely Luxor curtains as our backdrop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why not?
Just
Why
when you thought, were you promoting that we were going to be in Vegas for this episode?
not? Yes, I was.
Yeah. So, just when you guys thought you were going to get like some Vegas elements here, here's what you get: a hotel room with curtains.
This is great shit. That's what we do.
I mean, maybe you shouldn't have promoted that we were going to be in Vegas. Give people the wrong idea.
Nah. Oh, well. You know, maybe
the next episode we'll shoot from hogs and heifers or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
who knows? Yeah, we gotta plant our seed in certain places to get certain things.
Plant our seed.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what you meant.
Yes, whatever. Our music segment this time around, we're gonna do top 5 bass players of all time.
Top 5
So our last
band members that nobody gives a shit about.
Whoa, Johnny, easy there. They're the backbone of the band.
What's the old bassist dad joke? Like
What is
there's a total bassist dad joke.
Yeah, I don't know it.
How many bassists does it take to screw in a light bulb?
How many?
Well, just one, but it also takes a guitar player to show him how.
Oh, there. Show there, here, right there, there. All right. I'll start with my top 5
Okay.
bass players of all time. We're kind of doing this on a timer as well. We'll keep it going. My number 5 is going to be Lemmy. Lemmy has a
Lemmy motherfucking Killmeister.
Killmeister. Even a great last name too. Killmeister, fantastic.
Legend.
He has a great bass sound, a rock and roll heavy metal bass sound. It's just so mean, so loud.
One of the pioneers of distorted bass.
Yes,
like
exactly.
he put his bass through a distortion pedal, which nobody really
not
does.
many,
Right?
not many do that.
It's pretty
no.
rare.
Mm-hmm. And just
Maybe for good reason, but it worked for Motorhead.
and he sings too, and like
And his bass tone sounded exactly like his voice.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
it's like you hear both of them and you're like, hey,
Yeah.
this were we going for the same thing here? Because it sounds the same.
Exactly. And I think he deserves to be in the top 5. He is my number 5
He's a legend for sure.
bass players of all time. My number 4 is going to be Cliff Burton. And for the short amount of time that he, played in Metallica and has been on this earth, he came up with some amazing riffs and just amazing sounds on the bass
And
with
melodies.
and melodies with that band. It is so fantastic. Orion, and then what was the other one? The other instrumental on
Call of Cthulhu?
Call of Cthulhu, yeah, that one. Fantastic bass sound, and he was the backbone structure of that band. And it sucks that he had to pass away the way he did. And
So he
Number
was
4.
the backbone structure of that band?
Yeah,
That's an
I think
overstatement that is
No, you
pervasive
sure?
on the internet
You
that I
sure?
want to put a stop to
oh
right
my
now.
God! All right,
That's a little bit of an overstatement. Legend for sure.
legend for sure. You think-
Amazing player, amazing ear, amazing musician. Just he definitely deserves his due, but I don't think he deserves to be for people to overstate his like that he was that no, because let's be real. James was still the primary songwriter for the band. And Lars was still the primary structuralist for the band. However, where Cliff deserves some credit, and James and Lars and Kirk will even say this, is that he kind of introduced them to stuff that influenced them, like classical music harmonies, right? They started introducing a lot more harmonies once Ride the Lightning came around and stuff like that. Yeah. And so he definitely deserves a lot of credit for that. Backbone's just a little strong.
All right, well, maybe
but
he's back a little bit on that, but definitely deserves to be in the top 5 for sure. My number 3, Billy Sheehan. Just an absolute fucking freak on the bass, dude. He can play anything and everything.
He's what you would call a virtuoso.
Yeah, just
a
nuts.
phenom.
Especially with the band, the Winery Dogs. If you listen to any of that stuff, dude, he just goes nuts on that bass.
Billy Sheehan is like the Buddy Rich of bass players.
And like I didn't, just his sound too is just so like epic sounding almost. He has his own unique sound, and he could shred on the bass. Only bass players that shred.
He'll go note for note with. It's not just shredding too. It's technical. He'll go note for note with Richie Kotzen.
Yeah.
And Richie's doing all this finger picked tapping stuff, and Billy Sheehan's just like matching it like it's harmonizing it like it's nothing.
It's craziness. Number 2, Steve Harris, Iron Maiden, just one of the pioneers of.
So now here's where you
playing.
could say backbone of the band and be correct, because he actually wrote a lot of their music and a lot of their lyrics and a lot of other things.
And just
Steve Harris is responsible for a lot of Iron Maiden classics.
And just following the drums, especially he follows the drums so well, and just has that sound that complements that band perfectly.
I think a major pioneer of using a pick for bass as well.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, uses a pick.
Kind of the gallopy, the triplets and stuff like that. That he's kind of a major pioneer of that.
Enough said about that. I think Steve Harris is fantastic. Number 1, Geezer Butler from Black Sabbath. One of the pioneers of heavy metal, and his bass sound is just absolutely fantastic. I think he wrote a bunch of lyrics too for that band.
He was the primary lyricist. Yeah,
and just his riffs stand the test of time. That's underneath all of Tony Iommi's guitar playing. You could literally if Tony's going off on guitar, you listen to his bass, he's doing something completely different.
Yeah.
It's yin and yang with that, and Geezer Butler being my number 1, just outstanding. I love his bass sound, and me actually trying to learn some of the shit. All right, I give up. What is he fucking doing?
Yeah,
it is just insane, dude. He goes off on a bunch of songs. My favorite one is probably just War Pigs, the middle section. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. What are you doing, man? It's ridiculous.
It's almost like improv.
Yeah, pretty much.
But perfect at the same time.
Yeah, just nuts. That's my number 1. That's my top 5. I'll go ahead, and I've got a shit ton of honorable mentions.
Let's keep it not too long, huh?
Geddy Lee. I think I was tossed up between Lemmy and Geddy Lee. I think Lemmy deserves top 5. Geddy Lee is just right there. Geddy Lee's got an amazing bass sound, but I see Geddy Lee more as a vocalist. But Geddy Lee does a lot more. He does fucking the piano shit on his fucking
but
foot.
He carries a lot of the rhythm because it's a 3-piece, and just off the top of my head, I don't recall a bunch of overdubbed rhythm guitars in Rush's recordings.
Not too much, no.
So you really have Geddy Lee carrying the rhythm, not just live, because obviously bands that don't have a rhythm guitar player have a singular guitar player. Live, when the lead comes in, the rhythm drops out, and it's up to the bass player to carry it. But I feel like Rush did that on the recordings too. They didn't have a lot of rhythm guitar overdubs.
Yeah.
Like a band like Alice in Chains, for example, or Pantera.
Pantera, not so much. Here and there.
Pantera would,
but
particularly Alice in Chains. Alice in Chains almost always has a rhythm guitar underneath the lead stuff, even though on the recordings, I should say, even though they only have one guitar player, so it's impossible to play both at the same time.
John Paul Jones, fantastic, especially complimenting Led Zeppelin's guitar player there. Flea, I think he's a really good funk. I think if this category was funk, he would be in my top 5.
It's a solid one.
Solid funk player. Frank Bello from Anthrax, great thrash bass player. He knows
Frankie,
buddy. Jason Newsted and Robert Trujillo from Metallica. I don't know like who to put over who. I think
Trujillo's the
I think
better
I put
player.
Trujillo.
He's the better
Yeah.
player, but Jason Newsted is an era.
Yeah.
Like Jason is what we grew up with. Like that was an era where part of Metallica was seeing that motherfucker on stage go crazy.
Yeah.
And do the twirl.
Mhm,
Like
exactly.
I don't know, we
Twirl,
would
twirl.
always be amazed. Like how is that
Yeah.
motherfucker's neck not dead? And
I
by the
don't know.
way, Metallica toured more than any other band.
Yeah.
They played more live shows than
especially during
anybody.
His
They were
tenure.
notorious.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
notorious road dogs. Notorious. And that motherfucker was doing that to his neck every show. Every show. And it's like 2.5 hours. And they didn't play no opening sets. They weren't playing for fucking 45, 50 minutes
No.
like some death metal bands that get up there and twirl their No. They're playing 2.5 hours and he's going the whole time.
Yeah.
Madman. Complete madman.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Some quick ones here. Les Claypool, just technical and fucking amazing bass player.
Another virtuoso.
Justin Chancellor from Tool. He's got great iconic riffs that stand the test of time. Like you hear his bass riffs, opening riffs, you're just like, wow, I can't believe that comes from him. John Mong from Dream
Myung.
Theater.
Young.
Dream Theater, technical. Rex Brown is on my list as well because he holds that, especially live, that bottom end
Yeah.
fantastically. Troy Sanders is moving up the list for Macedon. Like he is fantastic, and he sings too. Fieldy, he has a great different sound than anybody else. He's
Very
got that
funky
good
as well.
slaps, kind of with Flea a little bit. I think Flea's better.
Yeah,
but Fielding is right
Flea
there.
is definitely more dynamic.
And there's my time. But let me give me one more shout out. I'll get Amos Williams from Tesseract. He's got another fucking crazy bass sound as well, and complements that band perfectly. Those are my honorable mentions. You know, there's so many great bass players out there that just fantastic. You guys keep holding the bottom end, will you? Chris, you're on the clock.
So this is really tough for me, as the top fives usually are. It's usually tough for me. And you would think bass players, nobody cares about bass players, but bass players are extremely important, and especially when you get into the really, really good ones. The really, really good ones. The really, really good ones are extremely important.
Not me.
So, without further ado, let's get into mine. The honorable mentions. We're gonna have some good ones. But let's just do the top five.
Go.
I think this is tough. This is really tough.
I struggle
I think I'm gonna go number 5. I think I'm gonna go Steve Harris.
Number 5.
Yeah.
Whoa, I didn't expect that from you because you're a big Iron Maiden guy. But
Yeah, but like
number
I
5.
he deserves to be in the top 5.
I agree.
Like to me, people don't really know how much involvement he has with Iron Maiden songwriting. I mean, the fans do, but like the casual listener doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? So, and he's one of the primary songwriters, and his bass is like a driving force. Now, Iron Maiden's never exactly been known for their low end. That's the only drawback that I would give him.
Not so much, no.
And that would honestly almost bump him out of the top 5 into honorable mentions, just because you don't have that heavy, thick low end from him.
Yeah.
That being said, though, I think he still deserves to be there because he's so influential
Yes.
and so dynamic, and a primary songwriter as well, which
Especially
is big for bass players.
Playing
Most
with
bass players
with
aren't.
that sound too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So number 4, which puts someone like this ahead of him, to me, is going to be John Paul Jones, because
Ooh, you
John
put him
Paul
in top
Jones,
5. All right.
John Paul Jones does many of the things that I would take away from Steve Harris. He has more low end, right? He thickens things out more, but he's also, very few people know this, one of the primary songwriters for Led Zeppelin. There's so many iconic riffs that he wrote that Jimmy Page then played on the guitar, right? Good Times, Bad Times. There's a few other ones. Like John Paul Jones did a lot of the songwriting in Zeppelin. Not all of them. There's not all of it, but he did much more than you would typically associate with a bass player. But he also had that low end. He also thickened out Jimmy Page's guitar so much. By the way, did so much as a keyboard player as well.
Yeah. But we're not talking
He's
about
really the
keyboards.
most unsung player of that band because he is like everybody talks about Jimmy Page and and John Bonham, right?
Yes,
and then of course Robert Plant's the voice. You know,
you think John Paul Jones last, pretty
right?
much,
And he doesn't deserve to be thought of that way because he's such an integral part of that band and brought so much to that band from a color and a flavor standpoint, but also from a songwriting standpoint, and rarely gets the recognition for doing it. 3, I think I'm gonna go Billy Sheehan, and so
3. All right. I think
so
it's
the
where I am,
only
too.
so you mentioned Billy Sheehan, and I agree he's a virtuoso.
Yeah.
If I was to knock something about Billy Sheehan, is I'm honestly not the biggest fan of his tone.
Oh, his tone.
I'm not the biggest fan of the tone that he gets from his bass and his amp.
Yeah.
However, the fact that he's still in the top 3 shows you how amazing of a player he is.
Nuts.
Because it's just you could listen to him play and just be like, "Wow, this is like." And it's not
is
like
that a guitar player?
but
Sometimes,
but
I feel
it sets him ahead of guys in my eyes like Les Claypool and Flea, where they're incredibly dynamic, but kind of like quirky in a way.
Yeah.
Particularly Les Claypool, right?
Les Claypool's very quirky.
Sheehan like just has this technical acumen that is second to none, and can just play whatever you put in front of him. We've seen him play thrash metal before, live in person. And he played Slayer. Like it was hilarious. We're like,
Billy Sheehan playing Slayer. What the fuck?
Billy Sheehan's up there playing
on?
Raining Blood.
Yeah.
Like it's just
What is
this
he
is
doing?
awesome. But then he'll play Billy Sheehan stuff where
Yeah.
you're like, oh my god, this guy's just insane virtuoso, and he deserves the recognition. Very unsung, hero on bass for sure, and deserves a lot more credit than he gets. Number 2 is going to be Clifford M. Burton. I don't know if his middle initial is M. I just threw that in
I don't
there.
know.
It's Metallica. I don't know.
Who he is? You put him at 2,
So,
huh? All right.
Absolutely,
After
because
dragging him down on the on my top.
no, I just
five,
said I just said he's not the backbone of the band. That doesn't mean he's not a fucking amazing bass player, because he is, and he did things that were so innovative.
Yeah.
And that still are. There are still so few bass players that you hear that sound like he did. That is something that he brought to Metallica that was very unique, is his sound. His sound was like, whoa, what is this? This is different. When you hear the intro to For Whom the Bell Tolls, you know how long I had friends that were into Metallica that thought that was a guitar. In the intro to For Whom the Bell Tolls, I thought that was like a lead guitar.
Yeah.
They even went to their guitar teacher, and their guitar teacher like taught them how to play it on guitar. They thought, no, this is a guitar part. I'm like, I had to show them a live video of Cliff playing it.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, motherfucker, that's the bass. They're like, bullshit, that's guitar. I'm like, really? Okay, you should know to not argue with me because I will give you proof. And then you see fucking Cliff Burton, Day of the Green, going, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
That guy is insane.
Yeah.
And then you watch him play like Anesthesia, and then you mentioned Orion, and there's so many great examples of just how dynamic he was and how amazing of a player he was, and the tone, like nobody has come close to that tone.
Especially with finger
Nobody.
picking too, yeah.
And the use of the wah-wah pedal, and when to use distortion, when not to. Like he was a lead guitar player on bass, but didn't go over the top. Like it was still tasteful.
Yeah.
And that's what was amazing to him. And that segues perfectly into my number 1.
Number uno, what is it, sir?
It's Geezer.
Yeah.
Also,
Same,
to me,
same as well.
a lead guitar player on bass, but different from Cliff, because Cliff had the wah pedal and the distortion and stuff like that. He would delay. He would use. Geezer didn't use any of that, but what Geezer would do is Geezer would stay in the pocket, but then play his own lead stuff while Tony was playing lead stuff as well,
exactly.
and they would
What the fuck is
somehow
going on?
be perfectly intertwined,
in tuned
and
as
flowing
well,
and in
and, like,
sync.
just- what
Everything's
is going
perfectly
on?
in
Yeah.
key.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of this bluesy, kind of heavy ass flowing shit that was like it's almost like hypnotic and like a spiral. Like they were just kind of like interplaying back and forth. And a lot of it, the crazy thing is a lot of it they would just jam. It was improvised, especially live, and they would just go. They would just go, and it was such perfect harmony and sync. And when you mentioned it, you can almost stop listening to Tony and just listen to Geezer and get something so different out of the song, such a deeper appreciation from whatever Black Sabbath song it is. You listen to it, you're like, holy shit, the bass is doing crazy shit in this song. It's really cool. Because it adds so much more depth and melody. Like there's so much going on in the background, because the guitars, of course, are loud and in your face, but then there's so much going on in the background that really thickens everything. By the way, he made the guitars super heavy as well at the same time, which is super important for a bass player in that genre. Anyway, so
number one's equal. All right. Any
Geezer.
honorable mentions?
Yeah, I've got a bunch.
Butler.
I've got a bunch. So I want to give a shout out to Tim Kummerfeld from Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, I
because
had him on here.
Talk about thickening out and making a band and guitar player sound heavier. Tim Kummerford or Feld, whatever his fucking name is a shining example of that. You mentioned John Myung.
Yeah.
Dream Theater, a virtuoso.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to fucking Michael Anthony Van Halen.
I knew you
Not really for his bass playing, more for his backup vocals and harmonies, because that motherfucker can sing, which is a sneaky talent for a bass player.
It's a good talent to have as a bass player.
Roger Waters, come on, Roger Waters.
All right.
Talk about an amazing musician as a bass player. The fucking music and songs that guy wrote, his bass playing ain't gonna knock your socks off. It's not. No. But my God, that guy wrote some timeless fucking music that will forever stand the test of time.
It's good honorable mention. I like that one.
Ben Shepherd, Soundgarden.
Oh yeah, Soundgarden.
Ben Shepherd is a beast. He's a fucking beast because they had a bass player before him by the name of Hiro Yamamoto. Ben Shepherd came in and was a beast on bass. He's a monster. He plays a lot like Geezer, but almost more angry and more aggressive. Yeah. But at the same time, he wrote a lot of music and wrote a lot of songs, like Geezer did. Geezer, by the way, we didn't talk about that. Well, you did. He wrote a lot of lyrics, you wrote a lot of the music.
Exactly,
Ben Shepherd actually wrote a lot of songs for Soundgarden, and he was just a monster bass player. Monster.
Time's up, but you got any more honorable mentions?
Just some of the ones that you mentioned, but not really worth repeating. I mean, sure, I could go with Les and Flea.
I'm going to go Chi, too. Chi from Deftones.
Deftones, yeah.
Chi.
You know what? Talk about, super, just super groovy.
Yeah.
Really groovy. Like you hear his stuff, like the way it kind of bounces with the drums and swings. It swings opposite the guitar a lot of times. Or when it doubles the guitar, it becomes really heavy.
I love the
like My Own Summer when it comes in.
I love the riff. I love that riff.
Dude, no, it does some great shit.
That's a fun riff to play on bass.
But it swings. It kind of swings. He has this it's not quite funky. It's more like a slight swing the way it goes with the drums and interplays with the guitar. Yeah. That's an interesting choice. I like that.
All right, here you go. That is our top 5 bass players of all times.
All times?
All times.
Parallel universe times as well.
Yes, exactly. All other lists can suck it. Or put your lists in the comments and we'll comment and tell you how bad it is. Or maybe it's good. Who knows?
If it aligns with ours.
Yeah, maybe.
It's good.
We're going to do something. We're going to do some talking new metal music with Chris here. It might not be a part of episode 25, but look for it. We're going to record it right now. Maybe it'll be attached to this video. I don't know. I'll figure it out as time goes.
What is this? So we listen
to music. React to different music.
Is there beer involved?
There is beer involved.
Okay, I'm in.
Score.